The first day of my sophomore winter break, I was at the campus coffee shop at Columbia, running the numbers and planning my schedule for the holidays. Suddenly, Chloe Davis, an influencer from NYU's film school, stormed up to my table. She slammed a stack of cash down, 10 grand, easy, and said with a dismissive air, "James Carter, quit your part-time job here. I'll pay you $10,000 a month to be my bodyguard." I looked up stunned. As I did, a bizarre, translucent overlay of text scrolled across my vision, like comments from a live stream. Here we go, the legendary first meeting between Chloe and James Carter, the future head of the powerful Carter family from Sterling Point. Yes, leveling up a future powerhouse is my favorite trope. He's the long-lost heir to the Carter fortune. Getting in on the ground floor with him now has a 1,000% ROI. First step to salvation is learning how to train your man. If he doesn't know how to fall in line, you teach him. Everyone take notes. This is a masterclass. I blinked, trying to clear my vision, but the text was still there. A frown tightened my brow. Had the world gone insane? I was seeing floating comments with my naked eyes. What kind of high-tech hallucination was this? I knew what a family patriarch was. But training me and telling me to fall in line. What the hell was that about? Apparently, Chloe wasn't satisfied with my stunned silence. She snatched the 10 grand off the table and lunged at me with it. My face hardened. Instinct took over and I kicked out. With a loud thud, Chloe landed hard on her, but the back of her head cracking against the leg of a coffee table. Her face twisted in pain. The world went completely silent. The floating text feed froze for a second, then exploded with new messages. Whoa, that's not the right reaction for James. Should he be tripping over himself with gratitude? Love at first sight, activating instant simp mode, ready to treat Chloe like the queen she is. His dad's paralyzed, his mom has a heart condition, and his sister is autistic. He's turning down 10 grand a month? Seriously? I make 5 grand a month and pray I don't get laid off every day. For 10 grand, I'd do anything. Chloe was just as shocked. She clutched the back of her head and started to sob. "James, are you out of your mind? I just want to help you out. Now help me up." I tilted my head, looking down at her, my patience gone. "You're the one who's out of your mind." I shot back. "Who the hell are you? You walk in here, cause a scene, and act like you own the place. You're not even that good looking, but you've got the ego of a supermodel." A few Columbia students who recognized Chloe were now watching the drama unfold, their eyes wide. The text feed scrolled even faster. He thinks a goddess like Chloe is not even that good looking? Is he blind? If he won't get close to her, how is Chloe supposed to get his jade pendant, connect with the Carter family, and become an honored guest in Sterling Point? Without the main love interest, how are we supposed to watch the epic rivalry for her affection? If she can't even lock down guy number one, the whole storyline with the others is going to collapse. He should feel blessed that Chloe even noticed him. He has no idea what he's missing. This was one blessing I could do without. As an active duty soldier, seeing something as unbelievable as a live comment feed floating in the air was something I had to report. I ignored Chloe, still crumpled on the floor, and the curious stares from everyone in the coffee shop. I calmly started piecing together the information from the bizarre text feed. This world, apparently, was insane. According to the comments, Chloe Davis was the protagonist of a story called The Forgotten Heiress and Her 6 Billionaire Saviors. She supposedly had 6 powerful brothers from all over the world, and I was the first one she was supposed to win over, and her first boyfriend. With these 6 powerful men, all ex-boyfriends, backing her, Chloe was supposed to transform from a neglected family outcast into a beloved princess, adored by the global elite. She would crush the fake heiress and the rest of the Davis family under her heel while she conquered Hollywood. It sounded like a cheesy revenge fantasy. Absolutely nuts. What was even crazier was the roster of her other saviors. Male lead number 2 was the heir to a mercenary group. Number 3 was the young boss of a foreign mafia. Number 4 was the top-ranked hacker on the global charts. Number 5 was a wealthy prince who'd snuck into the country illegally. And number 6 was a top assassin from the dark web. Add in a few other obsessed guys who didn't make the main cast, and this group wasn't a support system. It was a global summit of the world's most wanted criminals. Except, of course, for me. I was as straight arrow as they come. I got into a military academy at 16 and was on active duty. I just received a commendation medal last year. My adoptive father was a major general in the army, and my adoptive mother was a colonel. Whoever was posting these comments clearly didn't know that. They had me pegged as some charity case with a paralyzed dad, a sick mom, and a helpless, autistic sister. That was pure fiction. My dad was fit as a fiddle, and my mom was in perfect health. I didn't have a sister, but I did have twin older sisters you could barely tell apart. One was a research scientist for DARPA, and the other just got a promotion. Compared to the glorious resumes of the other male leads, I was so normal, it was jarring. I pulled my attention away from the floating text and glanced back at Chloe on the floor. If this comment feed was real, I had to report it. And Chloe's bizarre ability to attract these people. That could be useful. All those international criminals. Could I trade them for a bronze star? Maybe even a silver star? Chloe saw me looking at her. A flicker of determination crossed her face as she scrambled back to her feet and started in again. James, I'm serious about hiring you as a bodyguard. If $10,000 a month isn't enough, I can do 20. I could transfer the money right now. Shut up. I cut her off, my patience completely shot. If you want to have a meltdown, go do it at your mother's house. This isn't a movie set, so stop auditioning. Chloe froze, her red-rimmed eyes filled with a complicated look, as if I'd just broken her heart. The student onlookers quietly raised their phones to record. The shop manager, Leo, was trying so hard not to laugh his face was turning red. I shot him a warning glance and focused back on the floating text. Okay, I get it now. James is a total hard-ass. Chloe's opening move was a total fail. The plot is probably going to crash and burn. Without the jade pendant, when she runs into the head of the Carter family after his car crash near the film set tomorrow, how will she get his attention? My eyes fell to the 10 grand she dropped, still scattered on the floor. I pointed. Take your money and get out. I don't know where you got my information or why you decided to stage this little drama, but your acting is terrible. She didn't look like she was working from a script. I wasn't sure. I needed to observe more. My mind racing, I left the shop and got into my car. I pulled up a number from my dad's, General Carter's, office and dialed. Dad, I have something important to report to the NSA. The words were barely out of my mouth when Chloe, who had appeared from nowhere, ran right into someone in front of my car. I recognized the man she hit. His face had been on a wanted poster just last month. An arsonist. A jolt went through me. I quickly put on my Bluetooth headset and jumped out of the car. A commendation medal just fell out of the sky. I'm on my way. The NYPD's 26th precinct confirmed it. The man I'd apprehended was indeed a wanted fugitive. The guy had low blood sugar and passed out. I didn't even have to lift a finger. It was almost too easy. Chloe seemed frightened, but I didn't miss the flicker of excitement in her eyes. The comment feed stuttered for a moment before reappearing. Well, running into a wanted fugitive together. I guess you could call that fate. How good is James's eyesight and memory? He recognized a wanted man just like that. I'm starting to think James doesn't need saving. How is this chosen family thing supposed to work? Chosen family. More like a future prison block reunion. The moment I stepped inside the police station, the comments vanished. I had a hunch. It seemed like whoever was sending them couldn't see inside government buildings. After giving my statement, I left the precinct and called my dad again. I just collared a fugitive. Can you get in touch with your contacts at the NSA? What I need to report is complicated. Also, what do you know about the Carter family of Sterling Point? I ran into an influencer today, and for what I gathered, she thinks I'm their kid. I was rescued from a trafficking ring in Eastern Europe when I was 3 and spent 6 months in the ICU at Walter Reed. After I was discharged, my parents adopted me. 15 years ago, surveillance coverage wasn't what it is today. I'd been moved around so many times, and the traffickers who took me out of the country were killed in a turf war. There were no missing person reports in the system that matched my description. My family has spent years trying to find my biological parents, but we've never had a single lead. The search was a dead end. My dad was clearly stunned by the flood of information. It took him a moment to respond. Head straight to the NSA field office. I'm on my way. The Carters of Sterling Point are a distant branch of our family. I've never heard anything about them losing a child. I send them your information every year as part of the search. Are you sure your source is reliable? I was about to say I wasn't, but the comment feed popped back up. Of course, the info is reliable. The head of the Carter family knows his current son is an imposter and has been deliberately raising him to be incompetent. He got a tip that his real son was in New York, which is why he came here personally to check. Too bad he gets into a car wreck as soon as he arrives. If it weren't for Chloe, he would have died when the car exploded. A sarcastic smile touched my lips. I spoke to my dad with newfound certainty. I'm sure. You should contact him. It would be best if he agreed to a DNA test with me. I have no intention of moving to Sterling Point, but I want to know the truth about my kidnapping. If they're decent people, I'll treat them like distant relatives. If they're a mess, I'll take what's mine, set up a trust fund for you and Mom, and wash my hands of them. My adoptive parents have never treated me as anything but their own son. In my heart, they're my real parents. Even though they have government pensions waiting for them, I still have a duty as their son to take care of them. And who couldn't use more money? My uncles and cousins are wealthy, but that's their money. My money is my parents' money. My dad let out a hearty laugh. You got it. I'll have my aide contact him immediately. You don't have to report to your unit for training this break, so make sure you spend some quality time with your mother. I couldn't help but smile, feeling a weight lift. I'm not so sure about that. This thing I have to report is pretty big. The comment feed seemed to pause again, then slowly started scrolling. Hold on, James's adoptive father has an aide? Report to his unit for training. Does that mean what I think it means? What's he reporting? Suddenly I'm really curious. Chloe was planning on hiring some guys to rough him up so she could play the hero. Is that going to backfire? Oh, it's definitely going to backfire. Hiring thugs to jump me. Who gave her the kind of nerve? My dad's old friend from his army days, now a section chief at the NSA, was speechless after I finished my report. The other agents in the room, along with my dad, all had looks of profound constipation. I knew it was a lot to swallow. The fact that I could see a floating comment feed and that our world might be some kind of novel was an absurd thing to report. It completely upended their understanding of reality. I had to go through a series of psychological evaluations and a mental health screening. After 2 days of tests confirmed I wasn't crazy, the main topic of discussion became what to do about Chloe Davis. As the one who brought this to them, I tentatively raised my hand. It seems like Chloe has a knack for attracting criminals and suspects. I caught a wanted fugitive the day I met her. After a lengthy discussion, a joint task force was formed to verify Chloe's strange ability, with personnel from the military, NSA, FBI, and U.S. Marshals. I was free to go, but was also given the assignment of staying close to Chloe to monitor the comment feed. Another technical team was tasked with detecting any anomalous signal sources whenever the comments appeared. Meanwhile, Chloe's plan to hire some local thugs to test me was already in motion. She wasn't just brave, she was weirdly resourceful. I hadn't seen her for 2 days. When I went to pick up a custom birthday gift for my mom, I ran into her again. And this time, she was tailing me. It was ridiculous. This woman wasn't a protagonist. She was a natural-born undercover agent. The comments were having a field day. When Chloe makes a move, it's always a success. Tonight, at 10 p.m., get ready to see James, rescued and crying, clinging to Chloe for dear life. Today's a big day. Brother number 2 is going to have his first encounter with Chloe at midnight. I've already written a 10,000-word fanfic about it. My mouth twitched. To avoid any unnecessary complications, I immediately called my older cousin, Ethan. Ethan, someone's planning to jump me. I need backup. I'm worried that after I take them down, they'll accuse me of something crazy like assault. If they were already planning to ambush me, I had to cover all my bases. When Ethan Carter heard I was about to get jumped, he got there faster than a pizza delivery. Chloe's strange luck was in full effect. I had carefully chosen an exclusive, members-only restaurant, but not 5 minutes after we were seated in our private room. She was in the one right next door. The comments marveled at her good fortune. Chloe's luck is seriously off the charts. A dinner meeting with a director, and she ends up one wall away from James. Time to set up the heroic rescue. Can't wait for brother number 2 to show up. Brother number 2 is the heir to an international mercenary group. He's secretly on a job, gets injured, and runs into Chloe. She saves him, and he treats her like a princess from then on. Private jets, a private island in the Caribbean. He gives them to her like party favors. A mercenary, injured while on a job in the U.S., was either working as a bodyguard or an assassin. Finding an injured person on the street and not calling 911, but instead taking them home for private medical care. That was a felony. My expression darkened. I sent another text to my dad. Dad, notify the surveillance team. Chloe is expected to encounter the heir of a mercenary group around midnight. He's in the country on a mission and is injured. Mercenaries weren't illegal, but carrying out anything other than a security detail was. My dad had served as a peacekeeper and knew the kind of trouble mercenaries could cause better than I did. Just as I thought that, his reply came. Message received and relayed. By the way, I've confirmed the details with your biological father. You'll have to go for the DNA test yourself. I sent back a thumbs-up emoji. After dinner, Ethan and I left the restaurant. We hadn't driven more than a few blocks before the tailing vehicle appeared. Ethan rubbed his hands together excitedly, trying to ambush an active-duty soldier, one who's also a top academic prospect at the Army Cyber Institute. They've got guts. Chloe's protagonist-level luck was ridiculously powerful. I tried to stick to busy streets, but we immediately hit a 2-mile traffic jam, with my GPS screaming at me to find another route. When I finally took a detour, my custom Brabus, which had only been driven 5 times, sputtered and died in the middle of a deserted street. Ethan and I calmly got out of the car. The second we shut the doors, we were surrounded by 7 or 8 street toughs. So, they were really going through with it. The narrow alley was blocked off at both ends. The thugs, acting like they were in a bad movie, cornered us and yelled for us to transfer the money. A wire transfer was out of the question. Sending them to prison, however, was definitely on the table. I made a point of looking around. Not a single security camera in sight. Not one. Her main character energy was terrifyingly effective. What was even more insane was that these guys she hired weren't just acting. They were genuinely trying to rob us. The leader, probably thinking I was distracted, suddenly whipped out a knife and lunged at me. Ethan and I moved at the same time. I kicked the knife out of his hand while Ethan went to work, and we started methodically taking them apart. Ethan was cursing as he fought. Couldn't you find a better way to make a living than armed robbery? And a wire transfer? That's digital evidence, you morons. Do you even have the brains for a life of crime? We both knew the law. We were careful to apply just enough force to neutralize them without causing serious injury. Once all the thugs were on the ground, Chloe descended like an avenging angel, rushing towards me with fake tears in her eyes. James, are you okay? I started to kick her away, but Ethan sidestepped me and with a single precise chop to the back of her neck, knocked her out cold. The alley fell silent. The comment feed was stunned into silence. What just happened? Did I miss a chapter? Are we sure this is the same James who supposedly needed financial aid and could barely afford to eat? He's driving a Brabus G-Wagon. My eyes narrowed as a thought occurred to me. The comments were happening in real time, and only I could see them. Ethan rubbed his eyes, a look of disbelief on his face. Isn't that the real heiress the Davis family just brought home? I rolled my eyes and quickly gave him the short version of what had happened 2 days ago. I left out the part about the floating comments. That was just too unbelievable. Something's wrong with her, Ethan said, his face pale. She finds out your name from friend or friend, and then she has the patience to camp out at a coffee shop with a pile of cash ready to throw at you. That's the kind of dedication you see in spies. He was shocked, but he guessed wrong. Based on the comments, Chloe didn't have script. Her dedication to finding me was real, and the fact that she was fated to be at the scene of my biological father's car crash and save him was likely just part of the plot. Officers from the local precinct arrived quickly. It turned out that of the 8 thugs, 6 were actual delinquents who spent their weekends racing motorcycles on the Belt Parkway. The other 2 were wanted fugitives. One was wanted for a hit and run, the other for poisoning livestock at a commercial farm. The police had been after them for months. They had just been passing by when they overheard Chloe's hired muscle planning the robbery and decided they wanted a piece of the action. They never expected to be taken down so easily. Ethan was floored. There were wanted fugitives in that group of muggers. Are you serious? I stared at the officer taking my statement, just as shocked. Internally, I was ecstatic. Another commendation was in the bag. With Chloe's protagonist luck shining this brightly, maybe I could trade in male leads 2 through 6 for a Bronze Star or even a Silver Star. A man can dream, can't he? The incident with Chloe hiring thugs to rough me up was resolved with a simple apology. Now that I knew what was going on, I wasn't going to press charges. At 1 in the morning, Just as predicted, Chloe found male lead number 2 in a blind spot of her apartment building's security cameras. Zane, the heir to the mercenary group. He was lying on the ground, covered in blood. Chloe didn't panic at all. Instead, she moved to help him up, intending to take him back to her apartment to treat him herself. The surveillance team moved indecisively. The comment feed went wild. Seriously, can I even watch this show anymore? Brother number 2 makes his debut and gets slapped in cuffs 3 minutes later. He was taken away by federal agents. Forget a chosen family. They're going to have a reunion in a supermax prison. I mean, this is still a competition for her, right? Does brother number 3 even have a chance to show up now? I was also curious if number 3 would make an appearance. When my dad sent a text confirming Zane's identity, I was so happy I rolled around in my bed a couple of times before replying. It seems Chloe is a magnet for criminals. The surveillance team you assigned should memorize the faces of every fugitive, suspect, and person of interest on every watch list. A week should be enough time to verify this. As for the fact that the comments couldn't see inside government facilities, that still needed more confirmation. I slept like a log. The next morning, after my workout, my dad's aide was waiting for me downstairs with a man who looked to be in his early 50s. The moment he saw me, he was too emotional to speak. I watched him quietly for a moment, noticing the slight resemblance between us, and then spoke politely. "Hello, sir. I'm James Carter. My father said," he explained the situation. "The DNA test was my idea. They've been helping me search for my biological family for years. I have no memory of my life before I was rescued. But my memory since waking up in the ICU is crystal clear, which is how I was able to graduate high school early, get into the academy, and enlist. I had met plenty of our distant relatives from Sterling Point over the years, but never my biological father. That, too, was probably the work of the plot. My biological father, hearing my words, nodded heavily, his eyes red. He explained everything. I received the missing person reports your father sent, but your age and the location you went missing from never matched up. We've been looking for you for 15 years, too." I pressed my lips together and nodded, getting into the car. "Let's get the test done first. We can talk about everything else after the results are in." The fact that he could never find me wasn't just because of the plot, it seemed. As I started the car and pulled away, the comments appeared again. The information he received was all fake. Of course it didn't match. Who would have thought that the most loyal-seeming family butler was actually the mastermind behind James's kidnapping? Wait a minute, this isn't right. How are they having a family reunion without Chloe's involvement? The plot has completely derailed. Without her powerful brother backing her, how is Chloe going to make a splash at her coming-of-age party? She could forget about making a splash. She was lucky she hadn't been sent to the morgue. When we arrived at the DNA lab, a text came in from my cousin Ethan. The Carters of Sterling Point have an estimated net worth of about $60 billion, mostly in real estate and manufacturing, with some venture capital. The head of the family only has one son, but he has 2 older sisters, 3 female cousins, and 4 male cousins, plus a ton of nieces and nephews. He holds 67% of the company's shares. If you want them, I can help you fight for it. I smiled and typed back a reply. I'm in the military. I don't plan on getting out anytime soon. But if there's an inheritance, you bet I'm going to claim it. Thanks, Ethan. I was trafficked overseas and barely survived. I was absolutely going to fight for what was mine. The DNA results came back in 3 hours. It was a match. My biological father broke down on the spot, emotionally calling my biological mother to share the news. I waited for him to compose himself before calmly stating my position. I won't be publicly acknowledging our relationship for now. Contact me again after you've dealt with the traitor in your house. You had the nerve to raise a fake son to be incompetent, but you don't have the guts to bring a criminal to justice. And don't tell me you kept him around hoping he'd lead you to me. It's been 15 years, not 15 days. I admit I was projecting my anger. Whether it was the plot or the fact that my biological parents were deceived, I was the one who spent 6 months fighting for my life in an ICU. I couldn't just be a saint and let it go. My father looked at me with a complex expression, then took the DNA report and left to return to Sterling Point. I went back to my assignment of tailing Chloe to test my theory. Chloe wasn't implicated in the mercenary heir's arrest, but the good news kept rolling in. In just 1 week, the police and marshals assigned to watch Chloe all made significant arrests. The comment feed was in an uproar. A high society heiress runs into a foreign spy while taking out the trash. Does that sound right to you? No. Where's the doting family? It's a criminal convention. The doting will have to wait. Brother number 3 is about to make his entrance. He'd better have more game than number 2, who got arrested on sight. He's the heir to the globally renowned Chun financial dynasty, a mafia boss, and a kingpin in the Golden Triangle. He can't be that much of a screw-up. It's happening today. Chloe is going to the airport to pick someone up, and she's going to run into brother number 3 after he survives an assassination attempt. So, male lead number 3, with his triple threat background, was no good either. I frowned, went downstairs, and used a landline to call my dad. Dad, alert the FBI and the Marshals. Chloe might encounter a major player from the Golden Triangle today. He's the heir to a powerful international conglomerate and a foreign mafia boss. He's about my age. My dad's voice was serious. Stay safe. The Special Research Team's mobile unit is also in the area. During the arrest, don't be a hero. Your priority is to ensure the safety of civilians. I acknowledged the order. Chloe went to JFK to pick up a high school friend. In a corner of the parking garage, just out of sight of the cameras, they found the injured male lead number 3, Julian Croft. The special ops soldiers tailing her moved in swiftly to intercept. After his identity was confirmed, Julian Croft was taken into custody. Chloe and her friend were left standing there, utterly bewildered. I turned my head and happened to see a thoughtful look on Chloe's face, along with a flash of excitement she couldn't hide in time. What was she excited about? The comment feed was just a string of ellipses. I can't watch this anymore. What happened to the doting family? What kind of male lead gets arrested the moment he shows up? Is James crazy? Why isn't he following the script? My life doesn't need a script. I'll live it however I want. Chloe's main character aura was blindingly bright. Moments after encountering the injured mafia boss, she got back on the road, and it wasn't long before she crashed into the mastermind of a financial fraud scheme who was trying to flee the country. Her car flew over the median and flipped the other vehicle, completely totaling her front end. She walked away with nothing but a few scratches. This woman wasn't a protagonist. She was a human magnet for criminals. Back at the command center, the 24 leaders from the military, FBI, NSA, and U.S. Marshals were all stunned. My dad rubbed his face hard, his voice dazed. So, what's our next move? Neither the comment feed nor Chloe's bizarre abilities could be explained by logic. After a week of verification, everyone was feeling overwhelmed. After a long silence, the director from the NSA spoke first. My recommendation is to maintain surveillance. 8 agents per shift, rotating. As soon as he spoke, the leaders from the other agencies nodded in agreement. 8 agents, 4 male and 4 female, would tail her in secret. With that settled, all eyes turned to me. I instinctively straightened my back and reported. We have tentatively confirmed that the comment feed cannot penetrate secure government facilities. However, the feed has indicated that the next major target will appear soon. Chloe's 21st birthday party has a long guest list. Her party was the week before Christmas. The guest list included not just old family friends from D.C.'s political and military circles, but also wealthy scions from out of state. My dad tapped his fingers on the table, his tone serious. Continue to verify that the feed can't access secure locations. Special Research Team, report. Have you detected any anomalous signals this past week? The team dedicated to studying the comment feed presented a mountain of data, proving that an unidentified signal source existed, but it was unstable. The atmosphere grew heavy again. The existence of an unknown signal source was a massive national security risk. It required careful and repeated verification. The overall head of the operation, a high-ranking director from the NSA, gave the order to continue the surveillance, and the meeting was adjourned. My dad stayed at the command center while I went back into the field with the others. As Christmas approached, Chloe's and the fake heiress's joint 21st birthday party became the talk of the town. I got word that she was going shopping and hurried over. The previously sparse comment feed erupted. Yes, brother number 4, Silas, is finally making his appearance. It's been long enough. He's the #1 hacker in the world. His biggest claim to fame was breaking into the systems of several top engineering universities in the country without getting caught. #4 is a bitter rival of #3, who just got arrested. They were always stealing each other's business. He's also an underground boss in the Golden Triangle. This was a big one. I immediately relayed the information from the comments to my dad. 10 minutes later, Chloe was bumped in to buy someone in the mall, and the comment feed went crazy again. Damn, brother #4 hasn't even shown up yet, and Chloe already ran into his right-hand man. This guy is a stone-cold killer. He came into the country with #4 to settle a personal score. His enemy is dead, but he got injured in the process. After Chloe saves him, he's going to hack Colombia's systems for her, cripple her older brother, and take down the Davis family's corporate network. Another certified maniac. I quickly notified the surveillance team that the person who bumped into Chloe in the mall restroom was a murderer. Half an hour later, a message came from my dad. Subject confirmed as a homicide suspect. You can stand down. Chloe was taken to the local precinct for questioning. The comment feed disappeared. I reported this development, then parked my car in an inconspicuous spot and waited boredly for Chloe to be released. The fake heiress, seeing her chance, started stirring up trouble. She spread rumors that Chloe had committed a crime and been arrested, prompting Chloe's 4 brothers to show up at the precinct to find out what was going on. Another half hour passed before Chloe finally emerged. The comments instantly reappeared. Chloe has it so rough. She tries to help someone and ends up getting hauled in for questioning. I wonder what the cops asked her. It's so annoying that we can't see it. Forget those blind-sided brothers. They're useless. The fake heiress is so disgusting. Chloe never won over brother #1. 2 and 3 were arrested, and now #4's right-hand man is gone too. The plot is completely off the rails. I narrowed my eyes and sent another message to my dad. 9th confirmation. The comment feed sender cannot access secure government facilities. The content of Chloe's interview was not leaked. The NSA director had been right. It was better not to bring Chloe into the fold. She was far more valuable out in the world. My dad didn't reply, probably in a meeting. Chloe was taken back to the Davis family mansion by her brothers. The ride was uneventful. I followed them discreetly, waiting patiently until the comment feed vanished before heading home. My dad was waiting in the living room, his expression grave. I followed him into his study. The killer you caught today is a master hacker. I reminded him. You might be able to get a lead on those university system breaches from him. My dad clapped me on the shoulder, grabbed his coat from the back of his chair, and hurried downstairs. Can't you two just take a break for once? My mom complained as she set down a plate of sliced fruit, shooting me an annoyed look. The one time you're both home, the other one has to run off. Would the world stop spinning if you two took a day off? The world would keep spinning, but my beautiful mother would be upset, I said, quickly guiding her to the sofa and starting to massage her shoulders. It's just for a few more days, I promise. I've got a commendation medal being processed. It should be approved before the new year. In times of peace, earning a military decoration was incredibly difficult. But if Chloe's criminal magnet status was officially confirmed, a Bronze Star was practically guaranteed. I might even be able to push for a Silver Star. That's my son. Mom beamed. Her mood instantly lifted. She patted the seat next to her. I heard from your biological father. The butler who arranged your kidnapping has been arrested by the Sterling Point police. Several accomplices have been caught, and anyone who knew about it but stayed silent has been kicked out of the family. They want to come for Christmas. If you're okay with it, I'll make the arrangements. Without a second thought, I readily agreed. It was too early to talk about money. What I really want to know was if my biological parents' visit would make the remaining 3 male leads show up ahead of schedule. On the day of Chloe and the fake heiress's 21st birthday party, my cousin Ethan and I attended as invited guests. Ever since she was brought in for questioning, Chloe had been under a sort of house arrest at the Davis mansion. The comment feed had been sparse, sometimes with not a single message all day. But as my car approached the villa, the feed suddenly exploded. Whoa, the injured brother #4 and Chloe, who was trying to escape, still managed to run into each other. Please don't let him get arrested this time. Why is it so hard to watch a simple story about a girl and her doting protectors? #4 is the classic tragic hero. No matter where he goes, he's always being hunted. I quickly unlocked my phone and sent number four's information to the surveillance team. I told my cousin what was happening and instructed my driver to turn around and follow Chloe. 2 minutes later, the international hacker, Silas Vance, was in custody. The comments started cursing again. How'd he get caught again? Is the writer of this story sick? We want to see a doting family. You get it? Doting. 4 out of the 6 male leads are toast. What's left to dote on? Chloe gets hauled in for questioning right before her 21st birthday. This feels more like the fake heiress's revenge story. I'm out. The comments grew fewer and farther between. As the car transporting number 4 neared the federal building, all the comments vanished. I checked the time and told my driver to head to the airport to pick up my biological parents. As expected, the moment they appeared, the comment feed came back to life. Even though number 4 is gone and Chloe got questioned by the cops, we still have number 5 and number 6. The birthday party became the fake heiress's solo show. Chloe was sent to a villa in the suburbs to learn etiquette. This is the perfect setup for number 5 and number 6 to make their entrance. Number 5 is a prince from a super-rich oil family, a strong contender for the throne. He sneaks into the country. Chloe hides him at her villa, and when he gets home, he immediately gives her an oil field worth billions. Who wouldn't want a brother like that? I memorized the information from the feed and quickly sent it to my dad. Middle Eastern prince, Sarum, has entered the country illegally. Get the team ready. A prince from a wealthy nation, an oil field worth billions. This was a matter for the State Department. The day before Christmas Eve, the prince was apprehended. That same night, the prince's father personally contacted the Secretary of State to express his profound gratitude. The thank you gift was worth far more than billions. My dad came home walking on air, giving me a look I couldn't quite decipher. Your application for a Bronze Star is being processed. A Bronze Star works. I'm not picky. It was basically a freebie. I really wasn't picky. My dad playfully flicked my forehead and disappeared into his study. I rubbed my head and followed him in. I had barely sat down when he said, "After careful consideration, we've decided not to recruit Chloe Davis. However, we will be openly placing our own personnel around her." "Are you planning to move on the Davis family?" I asked instinctively. My cousin Ethan had taken over my aunt's business and was well connected with that circle of wealthy families. He had already done a deep dive on the Davis family. They were an old money family who had long since laundered their dirty beginnings. But the younger generation was reckless, and they had caused some serious trouble. The biggest liability was the fake heiress. She was the perfect entry point to bring down the whole rotten structure. On Christmas Eve, the fake heiress was taken into custody by the FBI for questioning. Along with her, her 2 uncles, the 2nd and 4th Davis brothers, were also brought in. Overnight, the Davis family became the biggest scandal in high society. The comment feed was celebrating. Hallelujah, the evil fake heiress is finally gone. Forget the male leads who disappeared. Chloe is still the protagonist. There are plenty of replacements. I hope there were more replacements. I had my commendation medal, but the Bronze Star still needed a little more fuel. One more big fish would seal the deal. 10 on Christmas Eve, my biological parents arrived. My mom insisted they stay with us, setting them up in the guest room. My twin sisters were home for the holidays, and my other cousin had come back from Chicago. The whole family was together. Everyone supported my decision to acknowledge my biological parents and was respectful of my choice to treat them as distant relatives. When my biological parents learned about the hell I had been through, they were endlessly grateful to my adoptive parents and fully supported all my decisions. To make up for my suffering, they showered me with cash, real estate, and company shares. They even gave me 100 kilograms of gold bullion. Becoming an overnight billionaire was a pretty great feeling. What was even better was that male lead number 6 finally made a move when my biological parents and I went to Sterling Point for New Year's. Chloe was in Sterling Point, too. She had been a valedictorian of her graduating class there, and her high scores had already made her a minor celebrity online. When a Davis family from New York showed up to claim her as their long-lost daughter, her fame exploded. The entire internet was waiting for the showdown between the real and fake heiresses. Both Chloe and the fake heiress were smart. They played the part of loving sisters in public while tearing each other down in private. The fake heiress desperately clung to her brothers, while Chloe constantly expanded her network. If I couldn't see the comment feed, I'd be just another fish in her pond by now, and the most powerful protector for all those other criminals. What nightmare. As I got out of the car, the comment feed overhead lit up. I knew there would be a replacement. The son of a warlord from Southeast Asia, who's showing up with brother number 6, is about to meet Chloe first. The warlord's son, brother number 3, and brother number 4 are the 3 main powers in the Golden Triangle. I bet Chloe can win him over. She needs to get brother number 6, too. He's a world-renowned neurosurgeon and a #1 assassin on the dark web. The list of people he's assassinated could stretch from here to Paris. I let out a heavy breath. Finally, some action. An assassin. Huh. Once you're here, you're not leaving. A warlord's son showing up in Sterling Point was definitely not through official diplomatic channels. There had been no news reports. I passed the information to the surveillance team and followed my biological father through the main doors of the Carter family estate. The fake son my father had been raising had already been kicked out. Everyone here today was a blood relative, but the inexplicable presence of Chloe made me want to curse out loud. I sat down with my biological mother, my face a blank mask. My father cleared his throat and announced coldly, "This is my biological son, James Carter." The DNA test was done in New York. His adoptive father is the youngest son of the D.C. branch of the family. Anyone who wants to cause trouble should first consider whether you can afford the consequences. Chloe glanced at me, her expression calm. The comment feed froze for several seconds before resuming. What the hell? The D.C. Carters are a powerful military and political family, right? How did James end up as their adopted son? Wasn't he supposed to be adopted by a small-town cop after he was kidnapped? I can't watch this anymore. The only thing they got right about male lead number 1 was his background. Everything else is wrong. I'm done. I think I can hold on a little longer. If brother number 6 gets taken out too, I'm officially quitting. The last male lead absolutely had to be taken out. My Bronze Star was calling to me. 11 The Carters of Sterling Point were a large clan. They had just as many members as my dad's side of the family. But unfortunately, my biological father was the only one who had made something of himself. The family business was barely holding on. My aunts and cousins all held some of the original shares. Ever since the butler and my great-aunt conspired to sell me to traffickers, they had been secretly plotting to seize my father's shares, orchestrating all sorts of sabotage and assassination attempts. My father was no pushover. The reason he hadn't found me for so many years was because he was afraid of what they might do, and he held onto a sliver of hope. He thought the people who took me might be raising me well. Back in New York, my biological father had given me a mountain of assets in front of our whole family. Now, back in Sterling Point, he was doing it again. The resentment from the other Sterling Point Carters was so thick you could almost see it. I watched the drama unfold, unfazed. The D.C. Carter's influence was primarily in the military and government. The Sterling Point Carters were business people. It wasn't even a contest. They could be mad, but they had to suck it up. I collected a pile of red envelopes and finally understood why Chloe was there. My father's second cousin was her professor. She had been brought along as a guest to watch the show. Before lunch was served, Chloe was politely asked to leave. I pretended not to notice. The only people happy today were the 3 of us, and I was the happiest. Chloe's main character, Aura, was working overtime again. Not long after leaving the Carter estate, she ran into the Southeast Asian warlord's son. The son's grand entrance lasted less than 3 minutes before he, too, was taken into custody. I sat in my car, watching through binoculars, observing a preternaturally calm Chloe. I had a gut feeling she could see the comments, too. The Bronze Star was in the bag. The comment feed seemed to glitch, taking a long time before new messages slowly trickled in. The plot is this much of a train wreck. What are we even watching anymore? What kind of female lead gets every single one of her male leads arrested? What's with James secretly following her around all the time? Could he be the one responsible for getting all the other brothers arrested? Don't tell me he wants to be the only one left. Please. The only thing I wanted was that military decoration. I had to admit, Chloe was an absolute criminal magnet. Wherever she went, trouble found her. In the 2 days we were in Sterling Point, she ran into 3 wanted fugitives and a suspect attempting to flee the country. On the 3rd day, male lead number 6, Dr. Damian Cross, finally appeared. He, too, made his entrance while injured. The comment feed was much quieter now, with messages appearing only once every minute or so. Fortunately, the special research team was making progress. The unidentified signal was fluctuating wildly, and they were collecting data. The surveillance team coordinated with them, waiting until Chloe had brought the man to the foot of her apartment building before moving in to make the arrest. The moment the handcuffs snapped on a number 6 wrists, the ethereal comment feed exploded into a shower of digital fireworks. My ears rang for a full 3 seconds before the sound faded. After the fireworks, the comment feed was gone for good. My dad called. The paperwork for my Bronze Star had been approved. There would be an official ceremony when I returned to school. I took a deep breath, unable to hide my excitement. The comments are gone. We'll need to continue to verify Chloe's special ability. My dad paused, then let out a triumphant laugh. The special research team had a breakthrough. They're formally inviting you to join the Naked Eye Bulletin Project. We'll discuss the details when you get back to New York. Okay, I accept the invitation. I was so happy I felt like I could jump for joy. With a fresh commendation medal and a Bronze Star under my belt, as long as Chloe's main character aura was still active, could a Silver Star be far behind? 12. The Naked Eye Bulletin Project was officially established. I successfully joined the project team. The surveillance on Chloe continued with rotating personnel, the numbers unchanged. Over the next year, every fugitive hiding in New York City was captured. Chloe's criminal magnet ability had clearly grown stronger. After numerous tests and verifications, the NSA leadership finally decided against recruiting her, but they did give her a substantial reward for her unwitting service. The year I graduated from college, the Naked Eye Bulletin Project had its first major success. We had developed a system that could project a similar ethereal text feed to a single individual or a group using 5D projection and a dedicated signal source. For my contributions, I, along with the entire project team, was awarded the Distinguished Service Medal. Chloe became a massive celebrity. No one in Hollywood was bigger. Every reality show she appeared on inevitably featured a police presence. The whole country tuned in to see which criminal she would accidentally get arrested next. She cut ties with the Davis family and moved her adoptive parents to New York to care for them. She never got a boyfriend. I didn't know if it was because she was afraid he might be a hidden criminal or for some other reason. The next time I saw her was after my team and I had completed another tech development project. I was home and my mom had set me up on a blind date. 6 years had passed. Chloe was more mature now. She still remembered me. Before my date arrived, she walked over to my table with a smile that reached her eyes. James Carter, thank you. I knew your adoptive parents weren't sick, and I knew about the comments. My acting was pretty convincing, wasn't it? I wish you all the best, a life full of happiness. And I wish myself a life of freedom, living exactly as I please. And with that, Chloe turned and walked away, leaving me stunned in her wake. I replayed everything in my mind, from our first meeting to the capture of the final male lead, her reactions, her micro-expressions. A slow smile spread across my face. Good for her. We both had lives we could finally control.